What up guys, Super Metal 983 here bringing you another CD review, and yet another 2016 release that I urge you to check out, especially if you're into prog rock or post-hardcore, or something with a bit more of a rockier kind of vibe to it. But yeah, definitely check out this one. But anyway, let's get on with it. This is what I'm going to be reviewing for you today. Yeah, this is the new album from the band Thrice, entitled To Be Everywhere Is To Be Nowhere. This is released under Vagrant Records. Now, Thrice are a pretty well-known band in the world of punk, hardcore, prog rock, whatever you want to call it. They've really expanded their sound over the years, but this is definitely my first exposure to the band, and to be honest, I was quite surprised. This was, obviously, prog rock is really come at home this year for me. It's been a genre that I've really managed to get well into with the likes of Steve Wilson, some newer Opeth stuff, Agent Fresco, amongst others. But Thrice has never been a band that I've really wanted to check out until I heard that this album was pretty good and that they were playing, I think it was Heavy Fest one year, I think it was last year. I could be wrong on that, but I decided to give the album a spin and give it a bit of a chance. And the first song what I checked out from this album, I believe, was I think it was The Window, the third track on the album, and I was really impressed with it. I thought it had a very solid sound and a very powerful vibe behind it, like a real emotional drive behind it, and that's what I kind of look for when it comes to prog rock. Like, yeah, you can play progressive riffs, great, but the vocals is what sings out for me. Obviously, being a vocalist, I like to hear emotion in vocals, and that's one thing that made us click, I think, with this album. And when I heard that, I decided to check out another song, which is my favourite song on this album, which is called Black Honey. If you've heard that song, you'll instantly fall in love with it. It's a great track. It's got a real, like, kind of swingy, kind of groove kind of vibe, but not as in groove with heavy riffs or anything like that. Just a nice swingy kind of prog rock vibe, which I really enjoy that track. I've had it on repeat quite a lot, and I've even shown my girlfriend. She quite likes that song, so you know how it is. But yeah, as I said, prog rock's really coming home for me, and for me to check out this album with a bit of a post-hardcore vibe behind it, which I'm also into at the moment, definitely set at home why I actually fell in love with this album. I think it's a really solid piece of work, and it's a very good time record. You know, it made us smile, and it's a kind of album you can just sit back to and just listen to and enjoy every moment of every track on this album. It's got some real like not even heavy, just like gritty, passion, powerful, emotional filled moments that really kick in, not like heavily. It just kicks in like a real sheer power, and I really enjoyed that factor about this album. Production wise, it's great. The drums sound very well produced. Not too in your face, just really well played. There's some really top-notch playing on there. There's some really intricate progressive parts in there. Obviously, with it being prog rock, it's going to be progressive. But yeah, whatever. But I really enjoy the drum work on this album. It kind of has some feels in here where he's playing some really soft mellow parts and really giving it a bit of a textured feel to it, and it kind of really adds to an overall atmosphere to the record itself. Bass wise, it's got a pretty gritty tone to it. Not super clean and not distorted. It's just like a quite nice gritty balance. It's kind of got a bit of a bark, you could say, and I really enjoy that kind of tone. It's starting to grow on us a little bit. I've started to accept it. Yes, you can have a bit of a gritty, slightly distorted bass tone, but if it sounds overly distorted, then just walk on home, you know what I mean? Just put the bass down for all I care. But anyway, moving on, the bass tone's great. Guitar-wise, got some great riffs on there. What can I say? There's some really mellow parts on there, but then there's like a really rough guitar tone coming in on on the powerful part, and it sings very, very well. There's a lot of like a raspy kind of vibe to this guitar tone, and I really, really enjoy it a lot. And the instruments themselves just create this great atmosphere, whether it's a sophomore part or it's the little grittier rock part, or that has a bit of a post-hardcore kind of vibe to it. And I really enjoy the musicianship going on in here. Vocally, as I said before, the vocals are filled with so much passion and emotion. I feel every note that the guy's singing, and I can feel every lyric that he's singing about. And you can follow the lyrics and you'll know exactly what I mean. Like, especially when, like, what's the song called? I think it was Blood on the Sand. As soon as that, and the Hurricane, the first track, as soon as you hear those first two tracks, by the way, I mean, it goes from Hurricane to Blood on the Sand. Yeah, Blood on the Sand, sorry, got that kind of mixed up. But anyway, but you feel a lot of emotion, and it's got a real great atmosphere going for his vocals, and it creates a really nice, unique tone. It's aggressive, but it's not like really super high pitched. In my opinion, the whole sound that this album kind of goes for, it kind of reminds us a little bit of Arcane Roots. If you're from the UK and you've heard of Arcane Roots, you may know what I'm talking about, but I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check them out. But anyway, they were in my super metal recommendations #1, but moving on. But yeah, honestly, great album. And there's even some acoustic sophomore parts in here, which the acoustics really pop very nicely, especially on the intro track to Hurricane. You can feel that it's kind of like a sophomore feel to prog rock, and you're like, alright, this could go somewhere nice. And then it kicks into the song and you're just like, yeah, this is going to be a great progressive record. And it is. It's a great album. It's definitely one of the surprises of 2016 so far. There's been some great surprises over the years, but this one is definitely homed in a bit of a surprising factor to me. And I have to say, it is a great album, and I think it is going to appear. It may appear in my top albums. It just depends on what releases come out and stuff. But if not, it'll probably be in my honourable mentions, but we'll see what happens. But this is a great album. If you haven't checked out this album, I want to check out some older Thrice just to compare it a little bit. But honestly, I'm reviewing this album now, so what can I say? Great release. Definitely something to check out if you're into prog rock, post-hardcore, or anything that's got a bit of raw passion behind it. This is definitely for you. Big surprise of this year. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Definitely a solid performance on this album, and I definitely think you should check it out if you're into the genres that I said before. So yeah, check out this album if you haven't already. I've got a few more reviews coming in the next couple of days. We'll just see what happens. I've got some packages inbound with some new releases, including the new Vulvodynia album, the new Whitechapel album, which I'm really looking forward to reviewing, and the new Architects album. I'll also be reviewing this album, the new Let Live, soon. So we'll see what happens, whatever albums come to be reviewed next. I'm not setting any stones for which albums I want to review next, or I'm going to review this album next. I don't know. It just depends on how my mood takes us. So we'll see what happens. But check out Thrice's new album called To Be Everywhere Is To Be Nowhere. Check it out. Really solid album. And yeah, what more can I say? I'll see you until the next video. Remember to check out Thrice and check out the links in the description to check out the songs on this album, and maybe you'll get into them. I did, so give them a chance. So yeah, I'll see you until the next video. And remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.